Well, solidarity. Where is America when it comes to that? Well, we're far from it, but we've been here before. More divided, even perhaps. And a new exhibit at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum in Springfield is exploring just that at such a time when we probably need to talk about it. Solidarity Now, 1968 Poor People's Campaign. Highlights one of the most important grassroots movements of the civil rights era. The exhibit investigates factors that made a movement a success, from the ideas, the people, and of course, Resurrection City, an encampment made up of 3,000 tents where protesters camped out for 42 days in the nation's capital. Let's turn it over to our friend, Christina Schutt, the museum's director. Thank you for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me today.
So tell us about this traveling exhibit. And we're not drawing any lines. We're not favoring anybody as we talk about encampments nowadays. We're not politicizing this at all. Just as a declaration there. But this was a remarkable move in 1968, and it came with real consequence, did it not, in the form of legislation?
Absolutely. This was a historic moment and an opportunity really to highlight and draw attention to the millions of Americans who were living in poverty. This was an encampment organized by the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, who of course we remember from things like the bus boycotts and other nonviolent movements that they did throughout the 50s and 60s. And so the Poor People's Campaign is really the epochs of that, drawing attention to, again, the millions of Americans whose lives are in poverty. And so this exhibit is really talking about that. It's really an opportunity, as you're seeing these images on the screen, to learn more about this, to learn what was Resurrection City, why was it created, who was it for, and what were they trying to draw attention to. And of course, it's bookended, Resurrection City, between the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. And so what a sort of more poignant place in which to talk about this.
Yeah, so now I am a Lincoln wonk. I took History 365 at Michigan State, which was an entire semester on Lincoln's writings, and it was probably my favorite class the entire time there. I was going to be a history teacher. I'm currently reading Personal Memoirs of U.S. Grant. So I had to talk to you when I saw that Governor J.B. Pritzker and his wife, Mary Kay, bought a document, then donated it to the museum. And this was really, you know, the impetus, if you will, of the Civil War. Fort Sumter, federal property, under threats from rebels because it was in the South. And then there's this letter. Tell me about it.
Yeah, so this naval blockade order is really Lincoln's kind of first act as president, taking military action against this Southern insurgency that has tried to take over the United States government. They have fired in Fort Sumter, and Lincoln has to decide, is he going to dither, or is he going to take a bold step forward to defend the United States from this armed insurgency? And so we're so grateful to the governor and First Lady M.K. Pritzker for this generous donation. They are huge Lincoln fans, and we're so glad that they decided to make their donation here at really the most important Lincoln Presidential Library and Museum in the country. So yeah, we can't be more thankful for it. And
dither Lincoln did not, and that started what began the Civil War. Ultimately a horrible several years, but the end of it, it kept the Union as one which we are today. So you've got tons of cool stuff there. What are some of the artifacts people can see in person? Take me over them.
Yeah, so we are so fortunate that we are the place for Abraham Lincoln, as well as the place for Illinois history. So we have over 13 million items in our collection, which is wild. It's kind of incredible to me when you think about just the richness and the depth of our collection. Some of my favorites are things like the Gettysburg Address, written in Lincoln's own hand. I mean, how many people actually get to see the words displayed, right? To get to feel the words as they stand in front of them. We have things like the Emancipation Proclamation, signed by Lincoln. Again, such an important document that begins the process of freedom for so many Black Americans. And of course, my personal favorite, the 13th Amendment, which permanently ends slavery in this country. And so it's such an important document, and we're so proud to be able to be the stewards of these documents. But of course, we have 3D artifacts, things like violins and fifes and drums and Mary Lincoln's wedding skirt, and you name it, we probably have it in our collection. So it's an incredible opportunity and incredible job getting to steward and to protect these objects for future generations.
Remarkable, remarkable pieces of history. And arguably, I would say, if you were to have one man who had more of a greater effect on who we are today, who we were, who we've become, it is him, and it is all right there, the greatest collection by far, and a wonderful place to visit. Thank you for joining us, Christina Schutt, and keep up the great work, the museum's director. We thank you.
Thanks for having me today.